Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. A little bit late, and I do apologize. I'm so sorry. We were getting our stuff together because I wanted to make sure when we do this that we give you the evidence to show you that we're not just attacking someone. You know what I'm saying? That we are doing it with, I like to show evidence. You guys know that. I say it all the time. I'm going to show you some evidence. I want you to know. I want people to know. And remember, as I'm doing this, it really pains me because I don't want to seem like we're beating up on Democrats, but I find it problematic. And it really pains me when people feel like they have to move a certain way in order to either launch a campaign. I've talked about this before, to fix their approval ratings, to do a pivot. And then they sort of insult Democrats and the intelligence of the electorate by pivoting in a way that's shocking. Remember, it's similar to the way that was shocking regarding Morning Joe, when Morning Joe was sort of the biggest advocates, the biggest anti-Trumpers, and they go, you know what, Donald Trump is coming in and we need to make a pivot and we need to, hear from him and change whatever. It was just like the same folks who are always saying, we need to hear more Republicans or more MAGA, not just Republicans, but we need to do more MAGA focus groups. What does MAGA want? And then we over-index on MAGA and you under-index on the people who are actually being hurt in society or others who are being hurt in society. So good morning. Thank you. Where are you streaming from? I want to know, or where are you watching us stream from? Again, I apologize. I'm sorry. Came here and then I said, nope, not enough evidence, not enough evidence. I need more evidence. So it's my fault because I'm trying to get more evidence for you. Okay. So thank you for watching us on YouTube, our main show. Thank you for watching. We're live also on TikTok. We're live on Instagram, and we're also live on Facebook. Hello, New Jersey. Thank you for joining us all on that. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the thumbs up. And I hope you're having your coffee with us or driving or getting ready for lunch or whatever it is that you're doing. And I want you to pay attention. We're looking at the stock market. The stock market is pretty flat today. It's down a little bit. You can show your graphic. It's not down by much, but it is down. I think it's like 33 points. And so we would love to see some up. Now, there are some indicators that, let me just be clear about this, okay? There are some indicators that the stock market, not the stock, but the economy, from the things that Joe Biden was doing, all of those things, if you look at the instruments and the levers that he put into place when he was president, that those things are all working, right? Those things are moving in the same direction that they were moving when Joe Biden was in office. The things that Donald Trump has implemented, like these tariffs, that's a drag on the markets, the consumer and citizen confidence down, down, down. The other things, eggs, perhaps moving in the right direction. We'll see. We'll see if this is a snapshot, but there is some indication for that. So that may be some good news, but the bad thing is that these tariffs, bad, bad, bad. Hello, Gulf of Mexico, Florida, Bella. So thank you all for joining us. So that is the good news. And what folks are not happy about is that infomercial and that car commercial that happened on the White House lawn yesterday. Lots of folks are making fun of it. They're saying, come on down to the White House. We have the car for you. You can trade in your thing for a Tesla. They're making fun of it, but it is really, really something serious that we have to talk about. But let's get to the thing that I really want to discuss, okay? And that is, and I have asked, if you guys know Gavin Newsom, if you're in California, if you get a phone number, call his office. Go on his social media, tell him to come on the show because I want to understand what is going on. I want to know, why do Democrats, and I think I've said this before on this show, why do Democrats feel like they have, I know I've said it before, why do they always feel like they have to pivot to the right? When Republicans, have I said this? Remind me, guys. While Republicans keep moving farther to the right, it seems that Democrats want to come in because they say, oh, we lost. What do we do? And they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to pivot to the right. Now I'm going to have to pick up some of these, Joe Rogan bros or whatever that Donald Trump, that he electrified or animated during the election. Is that really the answer? This, I think, should be setting off alarm bells with Democrats because, as we know, Democrats are selling something that the American people don't want. The 79 million people who voted for Kamala Harris, who voted Democrat in the last election, who voted against Donald Trump, there are 79 million people that they can engage and they can gain others on top of that, but somehow they have not figured out what folks want. And we know just from being here, we know what's happening with the mainstream media. The Democrats are going, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys turning right? Why are you becoming MAGA? What is up with that? I think we did a thing. What was our thing that we did, Nikki? Didn't we say Dems turning MAGA or something like that?
Yeah, going MAGA or something like that.
Going MAGA. So this is nothing new, but I have Gavin, Governor, what are you doing? What are you doing, Gavin Newsom? What are you doing? Gavin Newsom has a new podcast, and this is not about, I'm sure we're going to give him a little bit of publicity. He's gotten a lot of publicity. I think he's probably doing it for the clicks and whatever, because he wants to make a pivot. This is a soft launch for his presidency. And he thinks that by doing what he is doing on this podcast, that he is going to appeal to a demographic that doesn't normally support Democrats. The thing is that most of those people are never going to vote for you as a Democrat. The thing that you should be doing, I believe, is shoring up the Democratic Party and moving in a direction that is better for the people who are already in your corner. And if you have better ideas that are progressive, and again, I'm not a progressive. I'm an independent. I'm just saying, no, I like having a democracy. And I think that Democrats are the ones who are trying to keep the democracy intact. They have much fewer levers and influence now because they lost the election, because they did not listen to the people. We need to go and we need to be more right. We got to go on Joe Rogan. Okay, maybe. I mean, I don't think it was specifically going on Joe Rogan was the thing. The thing was getting out of your bubble, getting off of traditional media. Stop being so enamored with just the patina of legacy media and start moving in the places where the people are. I have pledged my purpose. I told you you guys this a couple weeks ago. Someone said, Don, I love what you're doing. Have you sent out, what is your purpose? You must have sat down and figured it out because it seems like you know. And I said, well, I haven't really thought about it, but I did make a pledge to myself that I would go unapologetically where the audience is, and I don't mean pandering to the right, because if I wanted to just, have a huge audience and whatever, then I would have to sell out the principles that I believe in. I would have to go, you know what? I'm just going to go right, and I'm going to pretend, and I'm just going to sit there, and I'm going to just listen to these folks and just let them spew their thing and then pretend that I'm one of them, which I believe that Gavin is doing. And you guys remember when I did the X thing was not about doing that. It was going into those places and remaining true to who and what you are. There's enough to go around. And remember, almost 80 million people were saying, I don't want this. And it wasn't that there weren't more people who you could have brought in who didn't want it. It was just that they were ambivalent. You gave them nothing to aspire to motivate them to go to the voting booth, to the polls. Okay? So if you're going to go into those places, now don't get me wrong. I believe 1,000% that you should speak with dissenting voices, that you should try to get to know people, or a communicator, understand people who don't have the same opinions as you, who you disagree with. But I don't believe that you just, especially if you have a platform, that you just, and I hate this thing, platform, but that's the right term. You just platform them and you let them spew their bullshit, and you're like, ha ha, and you kiki with them. Now, I know you guys are going to, they're going to say, well, Don, you were going to go on X. Yeah, but not that. And I think the interview that I did showed you that I wasn't going there to be red pilled or to pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm going there for what I told you. I'm true to my word. I'm going in those spaces and I'm going to fucking fight. And I'm going to tell you how I feel. Yeah, I'm going to listen to you. But if you spout some bullshit or some lie, I'm not down with that. And I'm going to tell you about it. And then, okay, we can still talk after that, but I'm going to tell you that is some bullshit. What you say and what you believe about DEI is bullshit. It is discriminatory. It is racist. It is wrongheaded. I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to put your words in front of you, and I'm going to say, please explain to me what you meant or what you mean by this. And we may start off with kind of friendly. Okay, it was great. But it's going to get real. And so I think that there are a whole lot of people who wanted something to be motivated for, but they don't want you to capitulate. They don't necessarily want you to turn right. They don't want you to do what the Republicans are doing, at least not politically. But there are things that you can go into those spaces or into other spaces. You did not. So I think, look, I don't think that she necessarily had to go on Joe Rogan. What I'm saying is that Kamala Harris needs to go into other spaces. She needs to become herself. She needs to be real. She needs to be a Black woman, which she is. But her team needed to understand that she's a Black woman, and they needed to conduct her campaign as such. Don't be afraid. This is who I am. So Gavin Newsom, I don't know what's up. I'm not a political person. This is what's in the zeitgeist. If sports was in the zeitgeist, that's what I would be talking about. But right now, pretty much everything is about politics. You go to the Academy Awards, they're talking about politics in the underserved community. You go to the Grammys, they're talking about it. They're talking about Donald Trump. They're talking about everything. These sporting events, Donald Trump is there. He's going to the Super Bowl. They're going to MMA fights, all of those things. It has become about politics. And I said that when Donald Trump is elected, if he's elected, we're going to have no choice. We're going to be pulled back into this political thing. I started Hot Topics because I wanted to do something other than politics. But then when Donald Trump was elected, it's like, okay, it's all politics because he takes over everything in the zeitgeist. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not Democrats. Eric Adams, I know you've got legal problems and that's why you're doing it, but still it is just embarrassing and insulting. Tulsi Gabbard, it's embarrassing and insulting. Gavin, it's embarrassing. The streets are talking about you, man. I held off for a little bit. I tried to text with you and say, but the streets are talking about you. They ain't happy. They went from, hey, I love this guy. The ladies and the gays went from, hey, handsome, hottie, I like him, to F that guy. Every text I get. And you need diversity in order to win as a Democrat. You need Black folks. You need members of the LGBTQ community. And I don't think the LGBTQ community would be upset about what you said on your podcast regarding trans athletes. That is a very nuanced conversation. And there are a lot of people, even in the LGBTQ community, who agree with you on that. And I don't necessarily disagree with you on that. But I think there is a way to do it that is nuanced, and it gets people to understand that by the only party that is going to support you on this issue, if you want to have your rights protected as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, and that means trans, then that's the Democratic Party. Just as before same-sex marriage, as a member of the LGBT, as a gay man, I knew, well, the same-sex marriage is not always going to be at the top of the strategy or talking points for Democrats in order to win. It's not always going to be at the top of the list because it is not the number one agenda for most people in the party. But this is the party. You see what I'm saying? This is the party that accepts me. This is a party that wants same-sex marriage. And so perhaps in order for them to win, they may not need to elevate me and amplify something specifically my issue to the top of their agenda because they're trying to win an election. But they support me, and I know it. They support my right to get married and my right as a member of the gay community in order to have every right that every other person. They support it, but the thing that gets them to win might not be that particular issue. So maybe we need to pull back and not over-index on same-sex marriage. So I understood that back in the aughts when they were fighting, but there were people behind the scenes, a lot of rich gay people putting money into it, saying, we need to go for us, whatever. And they knew who their allies were, and they did it smartly, sometimes loudly, sometimes quietly, but they understood where we were in the moment. And so with the trans issue, you need to understand where we were or where we are in the moment. Yes, we want trans people to be protected. Perhaps they should not be at the top of the messaging strategy because of where read the room, where the country is, because of how the other side may act on it and use it against us, which is exactly what happened. So Gavin Newsom, read the room. I think what you're doing now is selfish and just about you and not about the constituents, not about the voters, not about you, which I am not, again, not about you as a Democrat. Democrats right now, Gavin Newsom, since you won't come on, hopefully you will, they are calling you a sellout. Black people are calling you a sellout. LGBTQ people are calling you a sellout. They're saying to you, what they think about you is what folks have said, and Dr. King has said about you have to be more careful about the white moderate or the white liberal moderate than sometimes you have to be about the more conservative person who's against you, because you know where they stand. Because the white liberal moderate that Dr. King talks about will pivot in any direction in order to get them to where they need to go. Don't push this hard. Don't push this hard. And remember, Gavin, whether you like it or not, you have privilege as a white man that many people in the Democratic Party don't. And that Democratic Party is about protecting all people. And so you may pivot and others may pivot. Oh, well, I like that. Remember, there are people who are like you, and they are not Republicans. They're Democrats, and they may go along with you because they believe they're losing their station in society as well. Right? And so they may agree with some of the bullshit that you're talking about and this bullshit move, because they may feel that they are losing their preeminence or their place in society, because when the leveling of society, sometimes if you are at the top or you are the person that's used to getting what you want, then that can feel like oppression. But there's a way to do that, and a way to get folks to understand, those people who like you, it's a way to get them to understand where you are, where the party should be going, what the messaging should be, and how you do that without sucking up to the right or moving right, because you need to pivot and do something else. A lot of people can't do that. Now, I'm sure you understand that. A lot of folks, especially, folks with some browner skin, they can't do that. Folks who are not wealthy, they can't do that. They don't understand why you're doing that. They don't understand that the circles you move in, the wealthy, white, straight guys who like to play golf with each other, I'm just saying the bros who are sometimes Democrats, but they have very conservative leanings, and they don't like the woke, what they call woke. Maybe they're dinos in the moment. Those are the folks that you can actually reach and get them to understand that through this podcast that you have now, but not by not calling people out on their bullshit. You can do it and not be afraid of it and get them to come on, because you're Gavin Newsom. You can do it, and they will come on. I'm going to show you the differences between the two people. And everyone is wondering, like, hey, when they watch this clips, because most people I know said I couldn't even get through all of it. I kept waiting for him to push back. I mean, just somewhat. And dinos, Democrats in name only. Okay. I kept waiting for him at least to do, and then it was just too much kikiing and ha-haing. You guys remember And I'm not just calling you out, Gavin. I called the former president out, who I have so much respect for, especially his wife, for that bullshit with Donald Trump at Jimmy Carter's funeral. I'm like, why is he kikiing in this man's face? That is what you guys are not reading the room. This is not what non-Trumpers, I won't say never Trumpers, because there are people who were Trumpers and they moved over. This is not what non-Trumpers and people on the other side want. They don't want that energy. They want you to stand up to tyranny, to stand up so that we are not in the position that we're in with the economy. We're not in the position that we're in where people are ignoring the legislative branch entirely. We're not in a position where people are ignoring the judiciary and federal judges. They want you to stand up to that and not platform it and kiki it and go along with it because you want to be president, or because you want to be, you want to play golf with Donald Trump. You want to play golf with, I don't know, Michael Savage. I don't know. I don't get it. You want to play golf with your buddies and you want to talk about that. And you can't, I'm a member of a country club. I want to keep my money. I don't want to give that, to people who are less fortunate. I want. It's like being a diet. I think the Democrats like that, and the Democrats like that are like what you're doing. It's like being a diet Republican. Not diet Republican, diet MAGA. Because I do believe, as a former Republican decades ago, that you can be a Republican and conservative and you can have principles and morals. But what you're doing is very transactional. And I find that especially with people who are not non-melanated, that you can be very transactional and you move into places that people who are melanated can't move into. And then somehow you're like, whoa, what happened? It's the very same or very similar fight and argument that blacks and Jews had when we were together in the 60s and the 70s. And then all of a sudden, Jewish people assimilated. They became white, waspy. And the black folks were like, hey, hi. And you were like, oh, yeah, okay, see y'all later. See, oh, yeah, we're going to join the country club. Andy, I'd like to check the mic. Is this, I'm on the right mic? Is it on?
Yep.
Okay, just checking. It used to be, when I grew up and when my family grew up or whatever, it was like blacks and Jews together. And there still happens, but people will understand, like, what was the fracture between black people and Jewish people? I'm speaking in generalities here. Remember, and I'm a member of the Black Jewish Alliance. I think that together, man, great. But we were all together, the Goodmans or whatever, lost their lives during the civil rights movement, right? Remember all of that? And then all of a sudden, this is what black folks believe, that the proximity to whiteness, that people became enamored with it. And they were like, okay, see y'all later. We get to move into this neighborhood and you don't, because, it is no different than black people who passed. Very similar. Black people who were light enough, and I had members in my family who could, you would never know. Except we know, and we see, we're like, There are actors and actresses that I see on television and politicians where the black delegation go, y'all know that, right? So it's like passing. Gavin Newsom. Is Gavin Newsom passing? Is he a diet MAGA right now? So let's play. I like to show you the evidence, and I promise I'm just going to be an hour. Okay, I'm a little bit late, so I'll give you an hour. We'll get an hour, and then I'm going to get some analysis. I have my California correspondent who is going to join us at the end of the hour, and we're going to wrap this up with some analysis. Okay. So this is now, so the first guest was Charlie Kirk, right? And I want to play, I just want to show you, I'm just going to show you some, give me the Charlie Kirk, I think it's DEI. Give me the examples of Charlie Kirk, not from the podcast, but just things that Charlie Kirk has said over time. Here's Charlie Kirk.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
Okay. That is, see, pilots. All right. So that is, that's racist. This is if you saw like a Hispanic pilot and you said, you know, I just, man, I wish there was a white guy up there, or you saw a woman. That's sexist. It's not like, okay, you can't explain it away. It is what it is. Here's Charlie Kirk on gay marriage should never have been allowed. Charlie Kirk.
We were so beat down for years because we were told that marriage between a man and a woman is not popular, that you're a hater, just let these people live. And we kind of laid down all of our arms because there was a fake peace treaty that was issued for a very short period of time, where we were told that the alphabet mafia, they get gay marriage, which we never should have allowed to happen, and everything's going to be fine.
Alphabet mafia, gay marriage should never have happened. Okay, fine. Not making it, that speaks for itself. And then he has a very interesting comparison to gay people. Here it is.
Yeah, and so it's very simple. So how do you love somebody? You love them so much to correct their error.
Yeah.
And so let's just, take the pride conversation out, because people think it's an identification, which it's not. It's just sexual behavior. But it's, if you meet an alcoholic or you meet a drug addict, do you affirm their struggle? No. You say, you're better than this. Let's get you free from that. Let's get you free from that activity.
Okay. Andy, can you just play that, just not sound, and then just pause it? I want you to look at the picture there. Just play it again and then pause it. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Okay, pause. Is this where you, Gavin, and folks like who I'm talking to, is this where you want to be sitting with this? All of these people who are, at least one of them's bald. Maybe the diversity is that one of them's bald. I would much rather be sitting with something that at least has one person of color, one woman, one something. Is this the people you want to identify with on the right, the sort of bros? I mean, come on. I'm just saying. Is that what you want? Does that make you feel better to be in this company? Okay, so you heard what he said about that. All right. Let's listen to the conversation that Gavin Newsom has on his podcast, how he talks to Charlie Kirk.
It's like, you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, right. that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate. But
like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. So it's deeply unfair.
Would you speak out against this young man, A.B. Hernandez, who right now is going to win the state championship in the long jump?
Boy, did I saw how you guys were able to weaponize that issue at another level.
Not weaponize. That's
well, weaponize may be pejorative. You're right. But you were able to
shine a light on,
highlight it in a way that, frankly, there are not that many out. We're talking about, I think, the NC2A, what, 510,000? No, but I just didn't realize.
It's 890 medals and trophies that we know of in the last 5 years. That's a lot.
No, so let me step back. Say completely fair on the issue of fairness. I completely agree. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that. There's also a humility and a grace, that these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety and depression. And the way that people talk down to vulnerable communities is an issue that I have a hard time with as well. So both things I can hold in my hand. How can we address this issue with the kind of decency that I think, is inherent in you, but not always expressed on the issue?
No, I get it.
At the same time, deal with the unfairness.
So you're
okay. Now, this is him also having a conversation about getting into a restaurant, French Laundry.
You're whining and dining at French Laundry.
Yes, I was talking about the importance of never. I can't help you with a reservation.
I get such a kick out of this whole shtick. I got to be honest. So
Jesus, very nice. By the way, we couldn't have this conversation with that conversation. Dumbest bonehead move of my life. Okay, own it, move on, grow up. And I'm trying to.
Is that you talking to yourself?
That's me talking to myself. Okay. I'm staring. I'm looking right at you in the eyes as I say that, just to get your reaction. That's
good.
said.
Good enough. We're good. And then I was remiss in this. Let me play. This is the announcement of the podcast. Watch.
We need to change the conversation. And that's why I'm launching a new podcast. And this is going to be anything but the ordinary politician podcast. I'm going to be talking to people directly that I disagree with, as well as people I look up to. But more important than anything else, I'll be talking directly with you, the listener. Real conversations. What's going on with the cost of eggs? What are the impacts, real impacts to you around tariffs? What power does an executive order really have? And what's really going on inside of Doge? Look, there's an onslaught of information that we take in. So let's take it to the sources without the typical political mumbo jumbo. In the first few weeks, we're going to be sitting down with some of the biggest leaders and architects in the MAGA movement. This is Gavin Newsom.
Okay. All right. So, he almost did it with the trans thing. Almost. Let's go now. The next guest, I believe, was Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon says, let them call you racist. Wear it as a badge of honor. Watch this.
Let them call you racist.
Laissez-vous appeler raciste.
Let them call you xenophobes.
Mais laissez-les vous appeler xénophobes.
Let them call you nativist.
Laissez-vous les appeler nativistes.
Wear it as a badge of honor. Because every day we get stronger and they get weaker. I did not come here as a teacher. I came to Europe as an observer and to learn. And what I've learned is you are part of a worldwide movement that is bigger than France, bigger than Italy, bigger than Hungary, bigger than all of it. I've had the honor of being in those boardrooms when decisions are made. I've seen all the great elites, all the guys that go to Davos, the Davos men.
Toutes les gens, tous les gars qui fréquentent Davos.
If you give me the choice to be governed,
si vous me laissez le choix d'être gouverné,
by the first 100 people who came in here today,
par les 100 premières personnes qui sont rentrées aujourd'hui dans le Congrès,
or the first 100 that sign up for Davos,
ou les premières 100 personnes qui se sont enregistrées pour le Congrès de Davos,
I will take the first 100 here today. But with Marine Le Pen and Front National.
Mais avec Marine Le Pen et le Front
National. Okay, so Marine Le Pen, you guys know, right? Excuse me. You get that. But he is saying, wear your racism as a badge of honor. This is also Steve Bannon. Play it.
We're not going to surrender. We're not going to quit. Fight, fight, fight. Amen. God bless you. You are amazing.
That's also Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon on Gavin Newsom's podcast now, talking about where shall we go? GOP grievance.
Well, and I appreciate the notion of agency, that we're not bystanders in the world. It's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. And that fundamental notion of agency, I think, is important more broadly. And I think that goes to some of the issues around, victimization. And I see a lot of that, respectively, on the right, increasingly, even with Trump often approaching things from that sort of mindset.
What do you mean? What do you mean for Trump?
I think there's sort of the grievance narrative that comes from Trump. This notion there is sort of a victim.
Well, they did try to put him in prison for 300 years, right? They did try to bankrupt him.
Well, that's
if a guy had ever had a set of grievances, they did steal, according to us, and we're firm believers, the 2020 election, which I think worked out better that providentially that he was able to come back with that gap, because I think you're seeing a much more not just new and improved, but somebody that's much more in command of these decisions and really stepping up in a way that we could have never done before.
Right,
but no,
good.
I don't think it's grievous.
That's good. Gavin Newsom and Steve Bannon discussing oligarchs.
The rest of these oligarchs were all progressive Democrats until 11 p.m.
I don't know, they're progressive. I refer to them as libertarian, and I know these guys intimately, known them for decades.
So you know the danger we're dealing with.
Why doesn't Donald Trump? Why doesn't President Trump, the leader of the movement, Trumpism? Without Trump, I mean, maybe it's MAGA, it's the work you're doing in that populist base. But why isn't he pushing back? He brings someone in from Treasury, puts a Commerce Secretary that only reinforces this.
First off, at Treasury, I think you're seeing a very smart analysis about M&A and about the oligarchs. I think, look, President Trump's working through this right now.
Elon was there before, after he dumped DeSantis. And forgive me, but what's his end game? I mean, I know look, he wants to be the first trillionaire in the world. I mean, what's his end game here?
Well, you know it. You guys, you created him a governor. I mean, you
by
guys.
the way, in many respects, California did. It was our regulatory process and our subsidies to create this market. You're 100% right. I think you're right about that.
He left Canada to come to California.
Okay. There we go. Stand by. I'm getting a notice from someone. Thank you. Okay. So that's Steve Bannon. Now, let me introduce you to Michael Savage. Michael Savage is, again, someone who is an avowed bigot as well, who celebrates it. For years, was on the record. He's on the radio. He's a radio host. And he has been saying bigoted and racist and crazy shit for decades. This is him. I forget what he's discussing, but let's just listen. This is old school Michael Savage over the years. Here it is.
What do you think about Colin Powell coming out like shock of all shocks for what's his name? For BO. Do you think Colin Powell came out for BO because of his race? Duh. I thought about this. It was embarrassing for me to watch Colin Powell lie about Obama. And I thought this, and forgive me for being so blunt. But it seems to Michael Savage that the only people who don't seem to vote based on race are white people of European origin. That's an interesting observation.
Yeah.
The only people who don't seem to
let it go a little bit
of European origin. Why is that?
Okay.
If
now
everyone else votes along racial line.
Okay, and then here is Michael Savage again.
Laugh, man. This guy is full-blown mental.
San Francisco, Tina, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Well, you make a really good point, Michael, and you have a great show, but I still think that you're not wise in being so adamant about these gay marriages. What difference does it make what they do? You're going to work yourself into a big heart attack like Tim Ruskert.
No, I won't work myself into a big heart attack. I'll tell you why. Because the truth will set me free. It always has.
But
aren't you tired of the propaganda that every newspaper you pick up today shows old, ugly women getting married?
Okay,
well,
there you go. You know what? You can imagine where that conversation went. They show old, ugly women getting married. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, and I don't want to beat up on Gavin Newsom, but it's really frustrating because I believe that folks believe that they have to move to the right. And I think Gavin I appreciate, again, as I will say again, speaking to people that you disagree with, but Steve Bannon says, celebrate your bigotry and your racism. Steve Bannon gives what appears to be a Nazi salute. Michael Savage is an avowed bigot, homophobe, and as you can see, misogynist, sexist. Charlie Kirk, an avowed homophobe, thinks that same-sex marriage should never have happened. And then he says it's an addiction that people should be trying to, homosexuality is. And then, of course, he is a racist. Folks want to know, where is this Gavin Newsom, who was on the stage with Ron DeSantis maybe just a year or two ago? Here it is.
And you know what? Even more egregiously, Sean, and I think this is important, the American people deserve an answer from you, Ron. You had one of the worst mass shootings in American history, Parkland. 17 kids were gunned down, lives lost, 17 others, lives torn asunder. You had a young girl by the name of Jamie Gutenberg, whose father pleaded with you to do something about it. And you know what you did? You did the exact opposite. You made it easier for felons to get guns without background checks, without any training. These people pleaded with you, the parents and the families, to get tough on gun safety. And again, you made it easier for felons. He said of you, Ron, and I agree with him, after you signed that concealed carry bill, which increases the likelihood, Fred Gutenberg said, of more Jamies losing their lives and more Parklands, he called you weak, pathetic, and small. So with respect, I appreciate you're talking to police officers in the state of California. You may want to spend a little bit more time, not on the Ohio Trail and other places across this country. You may spend a little more time back in your home state and address the murder and gun violence in your own backyard.
Okay, pause. Do we have another one with him on the stage? I think there's another one with him on the stage where they're going back and forth. Do we have that one?
Yeah, give me a sec.
Yeah, I want to play that one as well. Because folks are wondering, hey, where is this Gavin Newsom? Gavin, you can do this in a conversation with these folks, and you don't even have to go this far. You don't even have to go this far. If you have it, Andy, let me know, or just play it. You don't even have to go as far as you did on the stage. People are saying, where's this Gavin Newsom? What happened to this guy?
Let me also say,
what are you talking about when it comes to this?
I know you like to jabber.
By the way, those are all easily
I know you like to lie.
Anytime you're uncomfortable,
he put the statistics up there.
Those are all facts.
Your crime is higher.
We
know your crime is higher.
Gentlemen,
what are you
I'm going to move on.
The gun murder rate in your state?
We'll let the audience. We'll let the audience look at the numbers, the FBI numbers, and decide. According to the gun control ad.
Where's that Gavin Newsom? Where is a Gavin Newsom that sat down in an interview with Sean Hannity and kept him in check like this? Here it is.
Secure.
I believe Ronald Reagan was right in 1986 when he supported comprehensive immigration.
Yeah, well, he also said it was the worst decision he ever made.
Yeah, but I believe that he did the right thing for the right reasons because he recognized it's not just a border issue. That the entire system needs to be reformed. We haven't reformed since '86.
You're not answering my question.
We need to reform the asylum system.
I want to know.
I believe in strong borders.
You just said Joe's successful.
I think Joe Biden has been an unbelievably successful
president. Is this border secure?
The border, we all agree we have a border challenge. We all agree we need to reform the asylum system. We agree in strong borders.
So he's not successful in securing the border.
I think the Republican Party is complicit in this as well. You cannot do things. I mean, it's just factual.
The border was secure under Donald Trump.
That's wildly overstated, but I get your fundamental point.
You get the point. And I hope you get my fundamental point, is that I want him to go into those. I think that Democrats, I think people who don't support Donald Trump, they want him to go into those spaces and they want him to fight like hell. He does not have to be rude. He can keep him in check. Sean Hannity loves it. He would have him on. All of these people would come on his show because he is Gavin Newsom. But I also have to agree somewhat. And I want to hear all of it because I haven't heard all of it. I am of similar thought as Wajahat Ali, who was on my friend Brian Shapiro's show. I think that Gavin does not understand. He thinks, and I don't know who's advising him, what political advisors advising him. Maybe there's something they know that I don't know. But here's Wajahat Ali. Listen to what he says. Listen.
The bear hugging of Liz Cheney, Brian, to the exclusion of your own base. The fact that you would have a Liz Cheney and you wouldn't even have a Palestinian or even a transgender activist speak at the DNC. Did it help you? And so this is where I'm saying, Brian, is I think my prediction is Gavin Newsom with that appearance actually tanked his chances. I think you're going to see people by the summer, especially as it all goes to hell, because it's going to go to hell by April, May. I think that anyone who's complicit will be seen as one of those white moderates that MLK warned about, and what people will support, in my opinion, because I'm old enough. I remember the same thing happened after 9/11. George W. Bush was loved. I was always against it. I was on the right side of history. Thank you. I tried to bring some receipts. Remember what happened in 2006, Brian?
Sure.
I think the
Absolutely.
same thing's going to happen here.
Okay. I didn't even hear that rest of the soundbite. He is saying the same thing that I said about the Dr. King thing. That is just what I'm hearing from folks. That is what the streets are saying. And just real quickly, I just want to point out, put some other folks up. Eric Adams is doing the same thing, right? Or similar, because Eric Adams, let's do the Negroes who asked me to step down, is doing the same thing. He's moving to the right, and he's trying to, and also alienating the people. Remember, he had huge African-American support. He is in legal trouble, ran down to Mar-a-Lago. Here he is now talking about Negroes.
So this is a biblical moment. You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. All these Negroes who are asking me to step down, God, forgive them.
Okay, great. And then, of course, you know, we have Tulsi Gabbard, right? Tulsi Gabbard, who is a Democrat. There are folks who believe that she's a Russian asset. I don't know if that's true or not. But we'll just show her stepping down from the Democratic Party because she wanted to be get in the fastest line to the front. Just real quick, here's Tulsi Gabbard.
Now, to those of you here or those watching at home who are independent-minded people like myself, who love our country and are committed to the Constitution and to freedom, the Democrat Party has no home for people like us.
Okay, so there you go. You got it. So now she became MAGA, and she's not just MAGA light or diet MAGA. She's full MAGA. And when I tell you that it is the shortest line to the front, she's now the Director of National Intelligence. It worked. We'll see. Will it work for Gavin? Will it work for Eric Adams? I don't know. I want to bring in now my California correspondent who has been standing by watching this, and I want to get her assessment here. Tracy Jacobs, how are you?
Good, Don. Hi, Lemonheads. Hi, everyone.
Hi. So
Hi.
you are in California. You have been governed by Gavin Newsom for how long?
Has it been 8 years? How long has it been? Has it been? Yeah.
So why do Democrats, and look, you may feel differently than I do, and perhaps I think that perhaps with this podcast, he can pivot and start just push back a little more or a lot more. I believe in speaking to people who you disagree with. But why do Democrats feel that they have to move to the right in order to be successful?
I think there's one word, and that's two words: Donald Trump. And you kind of saw it when Trump visited the state after the fires. I think that they feel the only way to govern, and in Gavin Newsom's case, to run for president, I think you said this was a soft launch for his presidency, is to appear more not centrist, but more to the right, given the guests he's been having, and what he's been saying seems very different than what he was saying several years ago. And he is not a Democrat. He's not even a centrist. He just feels to me like in the last year or so that he's leaned into the right and realizing that that is the path to power and his ultimate goal, which is to be president.
Yeah. Folks are like, hi, Tracy. They know you. Welcome back. So Tracy, and because, you know, Tracy, we know a lot of people, a lot of men like Gavin Newsom. Are you surprised?
I'm really disappointed. I am surprised. I'm surprised how MAGA has infected every politician save several, and that the Democrats have become so weak that there is no center, there is no independent, there is no anything except for MAGA right now, and that everyone feels to get anything done, and kind of understandably so, given how Trump has taken over every aspect of the government and Congress, and with his executive orders and the court system, that, you know, anyone has a strategy for how we deal with this. And right now it seems Chuck Schumer and anyone else who's formerly been strong in the Democratic Party, even independents like yourself, and I feel like I'm one too, there feels like there's no strategy and frankly, no hope right now. And there should be, because this is when we need it. The fact that Gavin Newsom is interviewing Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and they're clearly both MAGAs. Steve Bannon is particularly offensive in both clips that you showed, and he always has been. And it's like Gavin Newsom making an acceptance of this part of politics, that this is what he's going to have to do in his run toward the presidency.
Yeah. Well, look, I just wonder why. I think Gavin has been on, excuse me, Governor, I should be respectful. Governor Newsom has been on, Tracy, we lost you. Did we lose Tracy? I think we did. Okay, we can click her off. If she comes back, let us know. For me, I think he's been on with Brian Tyler Cohen or whatever, but there are people who have huge platforms in the centrist or in the left spaces that Gavin Newsom can go on and discuss this with and hash it out with, which I think would be very helpful in the non-Trump, non-MAGA ecosystem to elevate the voices and the kinds of people that he would like to have in place and in his corner, and he's not doing that. So, guys, I said I was going to be more disciplined with the time and with your time. We were on late because of the technical difficulties, and I wanted to have this evidence. So, thank you. I appreciate you guys watching. I want to say this to you. Make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. It is very important to us who are in these independent media spaces. Now, again, I welcome Gavin Newsom to come on the show. Welcome Salty Ficus for becoming a member. Welcome to all of our members, Teresa Williams. I welcome Gavin Newsom to come on the show and disagree with me. Maybe you guys disagree with me. Maybe this will evolve into something where he pushes back more, and that he understands that Democrats and people who don't support Donald Trump, they don't want him to pivot to the right. They want him to have a better idea and to stand up to tyranny is what they want from folks like Gavin Newsom. So this is my new being disciplined, okay? Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, okay? Follow us on all of our sites. We are live on TikTok now. We're live on Instagram now. We're live on Facebook. And now we are live here on YouTube, which is where our big show is, okay? So I just want to say, Tracy Jacobs, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And we'll get Tracy back, our California correspondent. We'll be back soon.
If you want me.
I've got to run. I've got to get out of here, Tracy. I've got a meeting, and I said I'm going to be disciplined about time.
Bye, everyone. Hope to see you soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you live at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on The Don Lemon Show. Make sure you join us, and then check out our content that's up online now, up on the YouTube, okay? So, as I say, always, turn this TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching.